Okay, let me do a quick little check to make sure I am live on all the spots where I need to be live. Um, should have had this set up. I just now came home with my husband. We were out getting some errands and then running. Went to lunch and I lost track of time. And okay, so I am live on YouTube. So welcome. If you have questions, this is the time to put your question in the chat. So I would then be able to see your questions and answer your question. And it doesn't matter if you're on Facebook or if you're on YouTube or if you're live with me on Zoom, if you're a member of the Rug Cooking Journey. I will see all the comments all the time. So that's perfect. So I got one quick little tip to sort of kick things off. This is something that was actually included in a little gift bag. You know, sometimes you go to a workshop, your teacher will give you a handout or a bag of goodies or whatever. And this was in there. It doesn't look like much, but this is a Swiffer, and it's the one that is good with pet hair. Okay. But what's really good about this, you know, sometimes when you're done at a workshop and you get all your stuff cleaned up and you've got this film of dark wool dust, and if you try to wipe it up with one thing, it just smears it. And if you try to wipe it up with something wet, it's even worse. This will wipe it up, gather it, it'll get sucked into here, and you're good to go. And you can buy these in bulk at Costco or just at your regular um, Walmart or someplace like that. But it's the one recommended for pet. And Donna is saying she can't get on Zoom. I bet you can now. I wasn't on Zoom until just a few minutes ago. So if you try it again, you should be able to get on to Zoom. Okay, so what questions do you have for me today? This is the general Q&A that I do at the first of the month. Um, it is an attempt to reach out to the general public. It's part of the Rug Cooking Journey membership benefits. I do a live Zoom call every week with different subjects. So the first of the month is Q&A. The second and the fourth would be a special lesson. Usually I have a topic that I'm doing sequential lessons on, and that's what those weeks are for. And then the third week, the one in between, is just a general rug cooking type lesson. And then if there's a fifth Tuesday of the month, which happens about 4 times a year, when that happens, then um, I just noticed something on my screen. When that happens, then I invite not only members of the rug cooking journey, but I also invite the color planning course people in the the virtual die class people. And we usually have it's about color that week, something that's going on. And I have a new program that I'm going to be kicking off for that. And that is a free color planning service where you submit the pattern that you want to do and whatever your ideas are about that. And then I will pick somebody, pretty much whatever project interests me the most. And then I will work with that person, do a color plan, create a video about it, and that will probably be the fifth um, Tuesday of the month. We'll get into those kinds of things. So it'll be a color plan along kind of thing, video that you get to watch. It'll be pre-recorded, but we'll watch it together. And then we'll go from there. So, Donna, I don't know if you're still watching on YouTube. Can you get into the Zoom? Is it possible? Let me do a quick little look to see. Is it participants? No, it's under chat where it's got. No, that there used to be a place where I could see the um meeting number and verify that I'm in the right place. I can't see that now. Okay, see, the link says it's for 24. I don't know what 24 is. Not working. Okay. I guess we're going to be doing something here on Facebook and YouTube then. No Zoom component. Let me try to do that one more time. Let me see if I can end the Zoom meeting and go into Zoom in a different way. Oh, it's the first of the month. Oh, shoot. I think I know what the problem is. The problem is me. Okay, so if you are here on YouTube, but you would rather be on Zoom, here's the link for the Zoom. Yeah, the one where it says it's for 2024, that's just a title. It doesn't mean it ends automatically, but now I've got the Zoom link there. Sorry about that, guys. But then I have to get into that Zoom link. Oh God, I hate not coming super early and having all this set up. So sorry, guys, that I am scrambling at the last minute, but I'm not seeing any questions come in either. So if you have questions, please, please, please fire those up and let me know what they are so I can answer your questions. Okay, Sargi, you're going to drive me crazy.
Recording in progress.
There we go. Okay. I'm not seeing questions come in either. So if you have questions, where is that coming from? Please fire those up and let me know what they are. Okay. So I can. Okay, so I'm muting the people on Zoom just because some of you had something playing in the background. Now, let's get going. I've got the right Zoom link, or at least I've got a Zoom link that people can find. Welcome, Sue and Donna. And we are here on YouTube and Facebook today, although I'm not getting any comments from Facebook. So maybe Facebook is having trouble logging in. I don't know, but we're giving it a whirl. So I'm looking for questions on what you can about rug cooking. It'd be about any topic. I'm looking around to see what I've got because I usually stash things that I want to talk about. I might have talked about this once before. And again, this is from Donna Harkman's class. She gives us a gift bag as a general routine, and it's got little things in it. But what the gift bag is for, it's for you to open it up, set it up so it stands upright, right? And then she gives you a paper clip. And you can paper clip the item that your reference photo that you're hooking from so it can stay vertical at your workstation, because if it's like me, it tends to disappear. So this is a great thing. You could fold this flat and keep this at the bottom of your rug cooking bag. Takes up very little space and it's there when you need it. So let's see, no other questions. This might be the quickest Q&A in history. If you're on YouTube or Facebook, please enter something in as a comment. If you're here on Zoom, feel free to unmute and ask away.
So I've got a question, Cindy. It's kind of a review question for me.
Okay.
And I know at the hook-in this last weekend, there were some really beautiful geometrics. And it made me think about diagonal lines.
Okay.
Just going straight, like up and down and sideways. So can you kind of remind me again about straight lines diagonally?
Diagonal lines could be an issue, right? Because I've heard some people teach, well, you go up 2 over 2. None of that works because if the angle is off or one thing or another. What I do is I simply draw the line where I want it to go, which would probably be a line that's already on your pattern. And then the point is to stick your hook in where the line is. Okay, even if you have to draw your own line at first to kind of get used to this. What's going to happen is those loops are going to be real close together sometimes, and then they're going to be further apart other times. But they're going to push and pull. I didn't turn off my phone either. Let's just do that for now. Oops, that's not what I wanted to do. Okay. Here. I turned my Wi-Fi off. That was not what I intended to do. I want to turn airplane mode on. Okay. Okay. So there's unfortunately several people who couldn't get into the Zoom, and that's my error because I was trying to change the codes for 2025 and things just aren't working. So sorry about that for people. Okay, this still no questions. Phone ring, phone off. Where was I with Sue? Diagonal lines. Okay, so you want to stick your hook where that line actually is. What happens, and the reason a lot of people, their diagonal lines don't look so good, is that they're trying to place them evenly, and with the north, south, east, west weave of your backing, it doesn't work when you're going cross country. So you have to sometimes put them further apart, sometimes closer together. The ones that are packed together will lean and fill up the space for the rest of it. So it'll work out. It's just that you have to have faith in that and go at it. Now, the biggest problem with diagonal lines is what it does to the edge of your rug. What are you doing? So the edge of your rug, I did a rug that was, let me see if I can find that really quickly because it'll be easier if I could show it to you. It's called Jacob's Lion. Here it is. Let me share my screen. Okay. And let me click share. And let's get rid of, or let's go to full screen so you can see it. So you can see this rug now. I'm getting a lot of background noise. And unfortunately, because I'm on share mode, I can't see you guys. So if you could mute if you've got background noise. But this one has a lot of diagonal and horizontal and vertical. And what happened is it put a lot of pressure on the edge of the rug in different ways. Okay, so the diagonal has one kind of pressure, horizontal has another, and vertical has a third kind. And what happened is that the rug was slightly wavy. What I did to correct that, and you don't see it in this picture because it's been cropped out, I've got several rows of a dark going around it that helped to even it out. Now this was hooked on rug warp, so rug warp will do it less than, say, a backing like linen. Forget about monk's cloth. You're going to have a mess. But even on linen, it's going to be really jaggedy, and it's going to take some time to straighten that out. And by time, I mean several rows of straight hooking. And that'll help to even it out so it makes sense. Is that what you were thinking about diagonals, or okay?
That was it. Thanks.
Yeah.
I'd forgotten about like how is it that we do that?
Yeah. Yeah. Just
I've seen so many pretty rugs that people were working on. They looked really nice.
yeah. Yeah. Stay on the line. And like I said, even if you have to draw your own line at first until you get a feel for it. And then they do even up. So if you're watching this on Facebook or on YouTube, you can enter into the chat and I will see your questions and I'll be able to answer your questions live. If you're here on Facebook or on Zoom, you can simply unmute and I'll be able to see it that way. Exit full screen. There we go. Okay, now I can see what's what. Okay. No questions. I've given 2 tips. I think I'm out of tips. What else can I tell you? Let's go over. Well, no, because I can't see it. Can't do that. Any question or anything that you've learned recently that you think was really cool? You want to share it with the group, or okay. Nothing, huh?
Well, I'm having fun with my odd
Oh,
border.
okay. Oh, the swirly one that you did.
The swirly one. I'm just wondering what I did with the paper version. If it's around here. Not. Oh, I know. Hang on.
Let me see if I can share that from a Zoom point of view.
Hopefully the diagonal lines won't be a problem, or the swirly lines. But I just took and did like swoopy lines through the middle of this pattern, blank pattern. You can kind of see them,
Right.
and then just chose the ones I liked and made darkened them in.
Right.
So now I'm putting them in and going around each one with, filling each of them in, like outlining them in black and then filling them in. So anyway, that was my only interesting thing lately. That's the other corner.
And it looks so much darker on camera because I saw it this weekend in person, and it was so much lighter.
Yeah.
So, well, that's
it's
fun.
Been a really fun thing to do. So it was kind of different, and anyway, different and fun.
Okay. And what we did with that was basically ignore the fact that there was a rug in the middle, and you drew swoopy lines that went all the way through everything. And that helps. There's something unconscious about that when a line comes in like that, and then you see it coming out on the other side. And it sort of connects everything together.
Just in case you're bored with hit and miss or blocks or straight lines.
Right. Well, and if you try to do like little humps, those can you either get frustrated because they're not even, or they look forced or awkward for whatever reason. So this way it's very organic. So Linda is asking what's going on in the middle, and they are 3 flamingos.
Yeah. And there's little strings hanging, so I'm looking for holidays.
Right. You are set up, ready to go. Oh, they
Yeah, I'm
look
trying
so
to get
good.
Thank you. I'm trying to get the middle done so I can just focus on the border. But yep, that's
Okay,
it.
hold that up for another second. I'm going to do this. Okay, so hopefully people on YouTube can see it then. There we go. Thank you. Thanks, Sue.
You're welcome.
So yeah, this weekend we were at Sauter Village. They have a winter hook-in usually it's February. We always call it the February hook-in. But this one started in January. It was the tail end, and then it came forward a little bit further. But yeah, it was good to see everybody. It was fun to connect again and to spend a couple of days hooking. Although I came back and luckily I had a massage on Monday, and the gal who did my massage, I have trouble with my right arm. And she says, yeah, she goes, you did a number on it. So it was more hooking than I usually do in a short amount of time. But she wrestled out all the kinks and hopefully got to it. Okay. I'm still looking for questions. If anyone's got some questions or something that you just want me to talk about, kind of like Sue did with diagonal lines, we can do that. It can.
Since Sue had those strips hanging for the holidays, maybe you might want to talk about that.
Yeah, I'd be happy to, but let me grab Barbara because I think she wants. You need to, Barbara. You need to unmute.
I got it. It took a week to get to me.
Oh, okay.
So I got it last night. I'm going to be working on it tonight. It's been a busy day. So what a
Good.
difference in the size of the hook head, boy. Let me tell you.
Yeah. Yeah. This was a case where Barbara was working with a hook that was way too large, and she was having trouble getting it into the backing. Yeah. I mean, it's a big blunt, and yeah, it's yeah.
I bought it from an unnamed rug hooking lady.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I don't think anybody could hook with that. You could crochet a nice scarf with that. With a chunky yarn.
I'm excited. I am excited.
That's good. Okay.
I use a really tiny one to put those little pieces of yarn in. Those little that were hanging there. I use a really small hook to.
That's the kind
that.
I use to do that.
Yeah, just really tiny.
Or I'll actually use a tapestry needle.
Mm-hmm.
So I have. Oh, and I moved my tapestry or my pink cushion. It's over there. I actually have one that's a plastic canvas needle, and the needle's plastic, and that works for identifying holidays. Now, what are holidays? Holidays are a break in your work. Let me see if I got my rug still sitting out here.
Flamingos are gorge.
Thank you.
I saw them. I'm like, oh, I missed it. I got you late.
So here, what I do, I wait until I'm all done before I do this. So from the back, I'm looking for some spots that are bigger than normal. Like this guy constitutes as a bigger than normal spot. And so all that would fit in there is probably going to be a tail, a loop, and a tail. But I'll mark it like Sue did. So I'll take either a hook like she has or a needle. I'll stick the needle in, pull it out the other side, leaving, 4 or 5 inches, and then cutting off 4 or 5 inches on this other side. Now, when I started, everybody was recommending to do that with toothpicks, which I don't recommend. Okay. First off, I don't think our toothpicks nowadays are as nice as they were in the 1970s. Okay, so I think there's a quality problem with the toothpicks, and they're often rough, and it'll leave splinters of wood. And wood is not pH neutral. It will decay your rug. You don't. That's why you don't want to store your wool on wooden shelves unless you've got those shelves sealed in some way, because it'll off gas um, and speed up the deterioration of the wool. And if you stick that right into your backing, is that a good thing? I don't know. So plus you can't really like roll it up and take it with you to the next place you're going to hook.
That makes
So
sense.
it's a lot easier to just use the yarn. You can roll it up. They can stay in there however long they need to stay. I use whatever yarn I have sitting around. So if you have some old acrylic yarn that you bought before you knew that natural fibers might be better, use up that acrylic, and or if you have to buy something, look for sales on the really cheap stuff, because it's just going to be in there. And then when you're ready to hook it, you put it on your frame, and then you dig down to the base of that piece of yarn, find the hole, and then pull the string out and then plug it up.
I never knew that.
Yep. That's one of the
That's
last
really good.
that's one of the last steps. When the rug is done, that is the last thing I'll do, is I'll search for holidays. Now, on my room size rug, I did the center. When I got the center done, I searched for holidays on that, and then I even steamed the center of the rug. But that was just to make life a little bit easier going forward, so that when I had to do it for real, I didn't have to do the whole dang rug, because the border was actually more square inches than the center of the rug. But I didn't have to scour the center of the rug looking for holidays. So that made that a little bit nicer from that point of view.
Did you finish that rug?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It's done. It's labeled and it's rolled up because I don't trust my dog. I don't trust my dog.
How long did it take?
How long?
How long did it take, and how big is
Well,
the rug?
well, it's probably around 7 by 9 feet.
Big.
It took 17 years, but there are whole years. I finished the center of it in 1 year. And then the rest of the time, I literally only hooked on it at Sauter Village. They have a hook in the fall, in October, and they have one in February. So I don't know how many years it was that was the only time I worked on that rug. I did not work on it at home because I didn't have my room set up upstairs, at least not since we moved to this house, which has been since 2014. So the last 10 years, it was only at Sauter Village. So, and it was nice. I knew what I was going to pack for the hook in.
It looked
Leave
like
it back
she was.
up, picked up,
It looked like she was dragging a body bag in.
Yeah, yeah. I bought a Christmas tree storage bag, and right after Christmas, got it for a song, 80% off kind of thing. And it's a real nice bag with a big zipper, but it was big enough to put the whole room size rug in. So, but yeah, it looks like a body bag. But that handle makes all the difference instead of trying to carry it like this. So, it did make it a lot better.
I thought of one other tip that I was making use of I've been making use of with this rug, and that's using that press and seal for yarn. So if you're hooking with yarn and if you have any trouble putting the yarn over your gripper frame, you can put a little piece of press and seal on the back of it.
That is the greatest invention.
Okay.
I love that stuff.
It works really good. It works good for lots of stuff.
So any place where it's already hooked, you would put the press and seal.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And it sticks again. You can move it around a little.
Yeah, you can reuse it. We could probably at some point do a whole lesson on just how to hook with yarn. We might talk about that soon and just do a lesson. I like on one of the third Tuesdays, and just kind of give it almost like a glossary or a whole, list of tips kind of a thing.
I would love to. I would love to know what the difference is with that.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
We can
'Cause
definitely.
I've got a bunch of wool yarn,
Mm-hmm.
and I haven't really hooked with it. I've done my little ultra punch.
Right. Well, I've done a lot of working yarn into a hooked piece, which particularly works in quite frankly, the one time I did it is because I didn't have my number 2 blade with me, because otherwise I would have cut on a number 2. But a yarn and number 2 are almost the same thing in a lot of cases, depending on the weight of the yarn, right?
Oh,
And
okay.
and so for after I do a landscape, I go around and I do a lot of accenting, and yarn works just as well for that. So anytime you have something where you need to do a really small cut, and it can be relative, because if you're hooking with, like, say, a number 8 and you want to do a small accent, maybe your small accent is with a chunky yarn. It just depends on what cut size you're coming from, right?
What? No, no. I was gone for an hour, so she has to complain.
Okay. So I'm not able to verify that if I'm on Facebook. So if someone's on Facebook, if you could just comment and say hello, that would help.
I did.
Huh?
I did when I was there, and you said, "See you, Bob."
Oh, it looked like you were on YouTube though.
Oh, that was YouTube. That was
Yeah.
Facebook.
Yeah. So I'm getting comments from YouTube. I'm not getting any from Facebook. And I don't know if it's not broadcasting to Facebook or if there's nobody on Facebook who has anything to say, which could be. But if you're here on YouTube, I am paying attention to the chat. So if you've got a question, make sure you put your question into the chat and I will get to it. What else did we learn this weekend? It wasn't really, because there was no teacher this weekend. It was just a hook in. So we were having fun. But there's always something to learn and to discover. We rediscovered patacons. That is a South American dish at a restaurant in Archbold, Ohio. Now, Archbold, Ohio is like this big. It's a little bit bigger than Pemberville, but it is teeny, teeny, tiny. I don't know what the population is, but
This is what sit down.
yeah, Barbara's got a cat crawling on her back. She sits there. She sits there. Well, that's her spot. But it is such a delicious dish, and every time I go there, I am surprised by how good it is. And we get it.
What's in it?
It's got like fried plantains at the bottom. It's got some avocado. It's got chicken. It's got a little bit of lettuce. It's got some cheese and some kind of avocado sauce. I mean, this is really
Black beans.
It's got what?
Black beans.
Black beans. Yeah.
Sounds a bit Caribbean.
But well, it's South American. So I forget what country they said it was from, but that is good. So I rediscovered that this weekend. That was nice.
The thing that's fun about hook-ins like that is the variety of what folks are working on. So,
right.
One of the people there was working on one of those really complicated gal shoot patterns, that are like a million colors and lots of shading and that kind of stuff. And one of the hook-in people finished a rug that had a beautiful jar of water with flowers in it.
Oh, that was gorgeous.
And it was gorgeous. And the water, just the idea. I have never done that and won't for a little while yet. But hooking a glass jar with water in it, making it look like water, is got to be challenging. So that was really beautiful. And I don't know, just lots of things like that. Somebody was doing a rug that was a reproduction of the cave drawings in France.
Oh,
So
yeah, that was cool.
and it was interesting because she was using primarily neutrals because of course the cave walls are brownish and the drawings are like with charcoal or whatever. But it was interesting to see what she'd done and how well they all showed up. And like you could see what they were. You know what I mean? It was and it was kind of brown on brown, and it was still just beautiful. So there is that. All kinds of different interesting things. You know, use the sparkle wool for background, like a night sky type of thing. Or that was fun. Very sparkly. Yeah, so it was a lot of fun. And then our guild, I wasn't there for that, but they did an educational session with volunteers, you know, the youth volunteers at the park.
Right,
and
right.
teach. So it's always a nice opportunity to let people try it. That's a good thing.
Yeah. And,
Anyway.
and that guild is the Black Swamp Rug Hookers. And anybody and everybody can join. Doesn't matter where in the country you live. We do meetings in person at the Maumee, Ohio library, but they have a big smart board and we're able to broadcast that. So you can come early and hook with us because we often go from like 1 in the afternoon to 7 at night. So you can come in and hook for an hour and then leave, or just come in for the business meeting, which is always the last hour, and just come for the business meeting and then leave, you know, however you want to do it. So
I found out today I'm going to my first rug hooking class, well, in person.
Ooh, where's it going to be at?
Searsport.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
They got a cancellation, so it's Michelle Palmer.
Oh, she's a sweetheart.
She's very artistic, from what I understand.
Yeah, she's one of my favorite people. She's a good one.
Enjoy that.
Well, I wanted to go. You know, she also does the punch and whatever. But it's a 3-day thing, and Julie put it out this morning. She had a cancellation. I'm like, me, please.
I guess that was a tips for going to class, Cindy. Like, what do you take with you? Like,
it's not till the end of March, so I'm gonna have to. I'll be learning a lot before I go there. Let's put it that way. Cindy's teaching me everything.
Yeah, well, but there are tips for things that are not necessarily how can I say this? Okay, my screen changed again. But some of the tips are as simple as, you know, have a little bag. Where's my little bag? Where's my favorite little bag? Let me find it real quick. Well, here's one. This isn't it. I bought an extra one because evidently 31 is going out of business. So I bought this because it's like, I don't want to be without another one of these. Okay. So this is, let me make this easier to see. This is just a nice size, right? So what I put in here is I'll put my thermos. The one time I went, I think it was in December, on the other side of it, I put a whole box of tissues because it was that kind of time. I was all snuffly. But I'll put a container with like little aspirin or you know, a little, you know, journal like this. I'll put that in there. And this is something then that I can take from the classroom back to my hotel room and then bring it back in the morning. And I don't have to think, what do I have to take? Because if it's in here, it goes with me. If it's not in here, it doesn't go with me. So something like that. That I haven't adopted that. It's only been the last couple of years that I've been doing this kind of thing.
Where'd you
Um,
get that?
this one is a 31 bag.
31.
But like I said, I don't know if they're out of business now or if they're going out of business.
Make one.
Yeah, you could make one about the side. This has a wire thing around the top, but it does collapse, which is nice. But the one I have has butterflies on it. That's my favorite one. So this is my one for at home. Like an upstairs downstairs bag kind of a thing, right? So what else? I know I did a video at one time that had all the stuff.
Like a notebook, like you said, to write notes in, and then I like to write down who all's in the class and where they sat and maybe what they worked on, so
Right.
that the next year, if I go or if I see them someplace else, I'm like, wait a minute,
Who is that? Yeah, so that's a good point. So dedicate one notebook for your rug cooking notes at a workshop and take it with you each time so that you can flip back to the prior pages. And what Sue is talking about is what I used to always do as a teacher, would just help me. You do almost like a seating plan. You draw the tables and do little circles for the chairs. And then I would put the person's name and what they hooked, because I would often remember what they hooked, but not their name. And so I could look it up really fast. And it was something that I just kept like on my teacher's table so that I could go, okay, I need to talk to Tracy next. And I would know who I needed to go to,
That's a good idea.
and what they
I
were
have
hooking.
this thing I picked up. Tell me if you think this would be good. Just like yours.
Yeah, a lot bigger. Oh my gosh.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's bigger.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah. It looks like the same kind of bag, the same kind of idea.
It's exactly the same. Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to be able to buy wool, you know, got to fit it in there.
Exactly.
But I laughed when I saw yours. I'm like, oh my god.
Well, and that's just for the little stuff. You know,
Still a great idea though.
if it's paperwork that I'm not going to need during the rest of the workshop, but I want to take it back to my room, I'll just put it in the bag. So that night when I'm tired and it's time to go, crawl into bed, I'm not scanning my workspace to figure out what I need to take back with me. It's all I need is my bag. So it just makes the brain work a little easier.
That's how I do everything. Even when I go from my craft room to my bedroom, I got a bag. Everything comes with.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you could use that during, especially if it's a smaller one, you could use that, now I'm at the desk working, or now I'm at my recliner watching TV, or now I'm up in bed. You got all
I like
that.
the shape of this bag, but it's definitely big. But this is what they do at these quilt retreats at Permanent Gathering. They
Mm-hmm.
give you one of these when you go for a retreat. And
Oh,
she made a new bag and a new color and a new logo. So
right.
they're selling the old ones. I'm like, oh, give me one.
Yeah, there you go.
But I do like the smaller one, and I'm definitely going to make one.
Mm-hmm.
So I can keep my stuff all together.
The other thing I do is like I always I know that it's not like I don't trust environments, but when I leave, I always tuck my expensive scissors and my hooks in my little tool bag. I just tuck those things away.
Right.
I'm walking out of the room, not just to the bathroom, but if I'm done for whatever.
Right.
So I tuck that stuff away, and I know people do that if they have those really nice cutters. I've just got an old Ridley, so I don't worry about it. But a lot of folks will tuck their cutters
Especially the loose
Yeah.
blades. The loose blades in particular.
It has happened, and that doesn't happen very often, but it could happen.
Well, everybody thinks a little old lady won't do it, but they're pretty quick, nimble fingers, you know.
It just makes you feel bad, So
Not age discriminating.
yeah, so that kind of thing. I'm trying to think what else. You already talked about Donna putting your picture up on a bag so you can see it. That was good.
Okay, so I can
I'd
do.
love to get up to Slaughter Village and see that. Down here in Florida, they're only here in January, February, March. Then the rest of the year, nobody's around. You got to travel the other way. So it's, I'd like to get up there. And Slaughter Village is pretty neat.
Mm-hmm.
Rug Week is pretty phenomenal. The rugs that are hung, and it's amazing.
I'm really looking forward to getting into I want to learn as much as I can. I gotta get back and start watching more lessons now.
Yeah.
And now that I have something to hook with.
There you go. Yeah, the replays on, I mean, we've got some of them indexed in that they have timestamps under the replays, and then they'll come up in search. If it's just a video plopped on a page, it's not going to come up in search until we timestamp it. And that basically means somebody watches the video, makes a note at this is what I start talking about, and then at 3 minutes and 45 seconds, this is the new topic. So if you're watching any of the replays and you're one of those people who like to take notes, jot that stuff down and then send that information to me and I'll add it into the lessons, and that will get that a little bit. But we are working on going back into the past and doing that. But that means somebody's got to watch the videos. So
I'll help you out with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, not a problem. Not a problem. I know someone else had offered the last time you had asked about it.
Mm-hmm.
So, but if you need help with it,
Okay.
that's not pretty easy for me. Plus, I'll learn at the same time.
So we have a couple people on YouTube, but no one's responding to the chat. I'm basically asking if on YouTube if they can hear us when we're talking on Zoom. I'll find out when I watch the replay, but if you're there, let me know in the chat if you can hear us okay.
I think the other thing I like to do is try to go back and review the teacher's work. Like kind of go back through and look at, look at what they are designing, or kind of, what they're hooking or whatever it is, to see, where their kind of where their heart lies, and to try to pick up the tips from that too, from them. What is it they like to do, or whatever.
Yeah.
Their favorite things.
I'm into so many different things that trying to find a picture to just hook to start with is just like so many things.
Oh, so the problem is narrowing down the options. Is that what you mean by as far as what your subject matter is going to be?
That's like picking fabrics,
Yeah, it is.
You keep changing it. Maybe it's a little lighter. You can. It's like editing a document. You can keep doing it and doing it and doing it. You finally have to say enough. This is good enough. It's terrible. I just can't wait to try everything.
Yeah, that's the fun part.
Has anyone ever done the sculpted ones?
I've done a little bit, just a tiny little bit of sculpting, and that was just this last summer. So just a tiny bit, just the shoulders of my bug.
I saw one where the whole face was like almost like 3D.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't know if I could do that.
It's
I want to do it.
It's doable, and it doesn't work on everything. I mean, some things you don't get the big punch in it, and it takes a lot of wool because you got to pull it up higher so you can cut it off. So you end up with tons of scraps. So I had one student who was coming to my house, and she was doing a bunny pulling a wagon filled with Easter eggs. And she wanted to sculpt the Easter eggs. And she said, what I learned about this was I need to do this at Cindy's house instead of at my own because it makes a mess. So, yeah. That's something you want to
Did you-
maybe do on the front porch, or just kind of plan for that because it goes everywhere.
That's like minky when you put it on the blanket. Once you cut that, it's everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
But fascinating. Fascinating. I have so much to learn on this.
I want to do a shout out to Judy. Thank you. She let me know that they can hear us on YouTube.
Yeah.
Just
Loud and
fine.
clear.
So that's perfect. So yeah, as far as learning, it's once you have the technique, which is pulling up the loop, which is relatively simple. And I don't fuss over perfect technique. I always tell my students, you can't compare your in progress work to my finished work because I can't compare my in progress work to my finished work. Okay. That iron, we talked a little bit earlier in this video about plugging holidays. The next step is to steam it. That steaming process, if you do that right, it levels everything out. And even if you do have wonky, crazy loops, it evens things out. But I kind of like wonky, crazy loops. Okay. I mean, who's made, a huge success out of that has been Deanne Fitzpatrick, right? She doesn't hook
wow.
with wool strips that are all lined up like little soldiers. She does yarn kind of every which way. And when she does wool strips, sometimes they're close, sometimes they're further apart. And it's all fine. It's all fine. It all works.
She could use dog hair and make it look beautiful.
Exactly.
I mean, she just grabs
Ex-
everything.
Exactly. So what's
Amazing.
making it work? It's the design, it's the color, it's the how you combine things. And
Mhm.
that's what we spend a lifetime learning. And that's what a lot of the lessons inside the rug cooking journey are all about, and especially inside the practical color planning for rug cookers. That has a lot of those kind of lessons about where the colors go. Now, color planning, a lot of people look at it and go, oh, God, I can't do that. I can't color plan to save my life. Well, what they think that means is picking out every wool and where it goes before you start hooking. That's not what it means. It means creating a palette so that no matter what color you choose, it's going to work. It means doing a black line with a black line drawing, doing a value study so you know where the darks and the lights go. Once you have that figured out, you've got pretty much the bulk of the rug. I'll often then stop and do what I call a distribution study, which is if I'm going to have pink over here, where else am I having pink? And I'll highlight all those areas. And I do that very quickly, very simply, often with just something as simple as, a yellow highlighter. This might not mean yellow. This might mean purple on my rug. But how many places do I have that purple? And I'll do that with leaves. Probably my biggest tip on those big complicated floral rugs is to do one pass on your pattern. I use a green, a yellow, and a blue. And I do just the leaves. Where am I going to put yellow green leaves? Where am I going to put blue green leaves? And where am I putting primary green leaves? And making sure that that's distributed. And then it's just a matter of grabbing your sheet going, okay, this one needs to be dark according to my value study, and it needs to be a blue green. according to my color distribution.
Mhm.
That will save you a ton of ripping out and rethinking.
Your rug that you did with the leaves in it, it's just all kind of leaves. Um, I can't what the name of it was, but you did it fairly recently in the last couple of years.
Okay.
It's got that's one of my favorite rugs of yours. It's just got blue green and yellow green, and they just kind of all swirl around, and it's just kind of it's a leafy geometric sort of.
Yeah. And that is one of those ones that I learned from Nancy Blood. I was a brand new teacher. Um, it was the second camp I was hired for, but the first one I taught at, right? Because of scheduling. So Nancy was doing a color plan in the evening after dinner, and I was walking by and I asked her if she minded if I sat in. And one of the things that she said was how she always color plans a floral with the full range of greens and splits them out between yellow, green, and blue green. And that lesson stuck with me, and that has served me well. Served me well on my room size rug. I had planned out. I knew that the vine wrapping around the centerpiece was going to be this kind of green. I knew these particular leaves were going to be that kind of green. And it just made things so much easier to figure out.
I'm gonna have to try that.
Yeah, yeah.
Do a better job with
It's one of those 5 to 10 minutes on paper. Putting the plan together saves you hours in hooking, and maybe even will protect a rug from being one of those that you never quite get done to one that you finish quickly because you know where you're going. You just go and you just do it, and away, rather than
And you figure
struggling
out
with
how to
it. Because otherwise you're like, oh, if I make that, then I can't, this is already that I can't use that. And it's like a twister game that you get stuck in. So figure it out on paper. It'll take you an extra, let's say half an hour. And, it'll save you, can you jump in? Yeah, you can. Lots of people do. Do they end up with the best rug that they could have come out with? Probably not. I know my rugs are better if I do a little pre-planning.
That's a B. Brock rug, isn't it? I think. Is that?
Oh, the real colorful one?
Yes.
Yes, that's a B. Brock. Creekside blossoms.
Okay. I just love that rug.
What other questions do we have? Well, before we go, you can still, if you've got a question brewing, hang on to it. But I want to invite everyone who's listening to this. We do a hook-in on Zoom I do them every Saturday. My friend Kim Hurt does them every Wednesday. You can get links to both on my website. And the hook-ins are free. They're open to the public. And they are a place where we're pretty much mainly socializing. I'm not in teacher mode. But every Tuesday, I am in teacher mode. And that's when I try to deliver some good value to you, kind of like what you've got today. And there's always a tip. I always learn something. So it's a good place to hang out. Okay, I'm not seeing anything new on YouTube. Still nothing from Facebook. I wonder if that Facebook connection didn't work. Okay, any other questions from you guys? No. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and end it. A couple of you here on Zoom are part of the VOW. VOW stands for Virtual Online Workshop. It's a program that's a year-long program. We're going to be enrolling for that soon. It should have been done by now, but I haven't gotten to it. So enrollment will open for that shortly, and then you'll be able to join that if you're interested. VOW stands for Virtual Online Workshop. So it is a training program where it runs the way I would run a real life workshop. Everybody's working on their own thing. We're not all doing the same thing. You can do whatever you want. And I help you with whatever it is you need help with. If you need help pulling loops, I help you with that. If you need help with finishing, we talk about finishing. If it's dyeing, we talk about dyeing. You're in control of your time and how it gets used in that program. So, but that happens tonight at 5:30 for any of you who are enrolled in that for 2024. Okay, guys, that's it. Let me share this screen. Here we
See
go.
you at 5:30 then.
Okay. Oops. No, it's not even doing. It's not sharing the same right thing. Here we go. There we go. We'll see you guys later.
Thank you, Cindy.
Bye.
Okay. We'll see you
Thank
later.
you very much.
Okay, so that took care of that. Thank you for joining me. If you're here on YouTube, I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. And you can join me every week when we do these by joining the Rug Cooking Journey. And you can do that at howtorugcook.com. I'll see y'all later. Bye-bye.